everyone! I've been itching to get a new, shorter leash for my dog Hobbes. If you have seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen him around. The leash that we have for him right now is pretty awesome. It's adjustable and the handle end has a carabiner so that you can take it apart and you can adjust it to be shorter, or you can put it around a tree or a pole or your body. It's pretty cool. However, it can only go so short, and I wanted something that was simple and I could just clip on to Hobbes and run out the door whenever I want to take him for a quick walk. So I ended up making him a braided paracord leash, and I'm going to teach you how I made it so that you can make one for your own dog. Or cat, if you have a cat that actually likes taking walks. Let's get started. You'll need some nylon rope. This is going to make up the core of the leash, so I just used some cheap stuff. 2 pieces, cut to 9.5 feet, some paracord, 3 pieces, cut to 16.5 feet, a clip, a 1-inch metal O-ring, pliers, a lighter, and a crochet hook or paracord needle. The core is going to show a little bit, so be aware of this when you're picking the colors. I wish I had gone with a black cord to match the paracord I used. I was aiming to make a shorter leash, about 2.5 to 3 foot long. If you want to make yours longer, you'll need more rope and paracord, obviously. After you cut the rope and the paracord, you need to melt the ends a little bit to stop it from fraying. Just hold a lighter up to it until you start to see it melt. Thread the clip halfway down both of the rope pieces. Now it's time to braid. I ended up having to reshoot this footage because the stuff I took initially was annoyingly blurry. So just imagine that ring that I have here is the clip. Spread the ropes out like so. Take the right outer rope and bring it behind the 2 middle strands and pull it through. Then bring it over the left middle strand, so it becomes the right middle strand. Take the left outer strand and bring it behind the 2 middle strands and pull through. Bring it over the right middle strand so that one becomes the left middle strand. Repeat this until there's about 6 inches of rope left. Stop the braid when the middle strands are crossed over like this. Tie this off with a box knot. To do this, bring the middle rope on the right over the outer right rope, like so. You can see the ropes are kind of in a cross shape. Now you're set up to start the box knot. If you've ever made lanyards before, you probably know exactly how to do this. Bring the right strand over and make a loop. Bring the left strand over and make another loop going the other way. Take the top strand, bring it over the top loop, and through the bottom loop. Take the bottom strand and bring it over the bottom loop and through the top loop. Then carefully pull each strand until it comes together to make a knot. Now thread the O-ring onto the rope and fold the rope over about 6 inches to form the handle. To attach the end to the rope, you simply just weave it in. I used a crochet hook for this, but you can use a paracord needle if you have one. When you put the end against the rope, you can kind of see where the strands line up with the loops. Thread the strands through these loops. do, just follow the previous strands to see where to continue weaving the loose strands in. Continue for about 4 inches. When you get enough of it woven in, it won't come out when you pull. Cut the excess rope off and use a lighter to seal the ends. I used pliers to squeeze the melted ends to make them flat against the rest of the rope. Now for the outer layer of the leash. This is optional, but if you want the paracord rope to lie flat against the rope core, then you can remove the inner tiny threads inside of the paracord. Take one of the strands, fold it in half, and thread it through the loop of the clip. Bring the ends around the rope core and pull back through the loop to secure it. Take another folded paracord strand, thread it through the clip on the right side of the rope core. Pull the ends through the loop. Repeat on the other side with the last paracord strand. Now it's time to braid again. This is really similar to how we did the 4-strand braid. You'll see what I mean. Split the strands so you have 3 on each side. Bring the right outer strand behind everything except for the very last strand and pull it through. Bring it over and around the rope so it becomes the bottom rope on the right. Take the left outer strand, bring it behind everything except for the last one, pull it through and bring it back over so it becomes the bottom on the left. Continue this all the way down the leash. Every once in a while, flip it over and adjust the paracord so it covers the core correctly. When you get to the handle part, just position the paracord strands so that you can continue down one side of the handle. Once you have about an inch or so braided onto the handle, you can thread the O-ring over the paracord strands to get it out of the way, and then continue braiding. Once you get back to the main part of the leash, start braiding around the whole thing again for about 4 or 5 inches. And then simply weave the ends in like you did with the core. Then you can cut the extra off and melt it with a lighter to seal the ends. You can see here I knotted the ends first, then cut and melted the ends, which I wish I hadn't done that. It made it bulky at that part, and it's unnecessary if you wove the ends in far enough. And there you go, the leash is done. An optional step you can do is to wax the leash. If you want to do this, you'll need paraffin or beeswax. I prefer beeswax. A bowl to melt it in, a pot with about an inch or 2 of water, a toothbrush, the leash, and an aluminum foil lined baking sheet with a rack. This is supposed to make the cord more comfortable to use, and it makes it waterproof, and if you do it right, can give you an effect like leather. First, cut a chunk of the wax off, chuck it into the bowl, and place that into the pot with water. Heat over medium heat until the wax is melted. While you're waiting, you should probably cover your work area so that it'll be easier to clean. If you're like me, you're probably going to get wax everywhere. Before this next step, preheat your oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Dip the toothbrush into the wax and scrub it into the leash. Make sure to really get it in there. Don't be afraid to really cake it on. It'll look like this when you're done. Now place it on the rack on your baking sheet and stick it in the oven. Let it hang out in there for about 10 minutes. The leash will absorb the wax and any excess will drip off. Make sure when you pull it out to let it cool completely. It has metal pieces on it, so you want to make sure that those are completely cool before you try to handle it. You can repeat this process until it's as waxed as you like. I only did it once here, but I think I'm going to go back and do this process a few more times. I didn't get the leathery look that I wanted, and I'm pretty sure it was because I didn't apply enough wax layers to achieve that look. Anyway, once you're done with that, then the leash is finished. Now you have to go test it out. you all enjoyed this project as much as Hobbes did. If you did, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. I post DIY videos every Thursday. You can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Pinterest, and I'll leave the information to those down below. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.